You ever get that feeling, like something's off? You can't explain why, but something deep in your gut tells you that you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. It's easy to brush that off, to keep moving forward, but sometimes ignoring that feeling can cost you everything. Sam knew it was a bad idea to start this hike so late in the day. He was running out of daylight, and deep down, he understood he probably wouldn't make it the full 4 miles to the campsite he'd planned on. Still, he figured he was in good shape, and with some effort, he could probably reach the 2 or 3 mile mark before it got fully dark. There were a few decent spots to set up camp along the way, so he decided to go for it. But the terrain was tougher than expected, and Sam wasn't moving as quickly as he'd hoped. Pretty soon, the sun dipped below the trees, and he was swallowed by darkness. He flicked on his flashlight, but it barely cut through the pitch black ahead of him, maybe 10 feet of visibility at best. At one point, Sam stumbled on a rock and almost went down hard. Had he fallen, he would have been seriously hurt, far from help, in an area with bad cell service, and on dangerous, narrow roads that barely saw traffic. No one knew exactly where he was. It hit him like a cold wave. He'd made a mistake. Sam decided right then that he needed to stop pushing his luck. He scanned around with his flashlight and saw a small clearing about 30 feet off the trail. As he stepped into it, he found remnants of an old fire pit, just a few rocks in a circle, maybe blackened a little by soot. That gave him some peace of mind. Someone had camped here before, and they had clearly made it out. He felt a little more confident after that, smart even. Sam hadn't brought a tent. He preferred to sleep on a foam pad with a sleeping bag and hang a tarp above him in case it rained. The surrounding pine trees made it easy to rig up, and soon he had everything set. A small fire crackled in front of him, casting warm orange light into the clearing. He popped open a can of beans and started eating. That's when he felt it. Something was off. He couldn't explain it. He wasn't hearing anything. Nothing had happened, but his skin prickled and his stomach tightened. He glanced around, eyes scanning the trees. But if you've ever sat beside a fire in the forest, you know your visibility is almost non-existent. The light makes it nearly impossible to see past a few feet. Everything outside the glow is swallowed in black. He tried to shake it off. Maybe it was just nerves. But then, a small rock, about the size of a marble, came flying out of the trees and landed right by his feet. He froze. That immediate rush of dread he'd been feeling suddenly had a face. He stood up, trying to peer through the shadows beyond the trees, but it was no use. He couldn't see anything. Over the next 15 minutes, Sam kept scanning and listening. He didn't hear any more movement, and no more rocks came flying into the clearing. Eventually, he started to rationalize it. Maybe he kicked it earlier, and it just shifted. Maybe a pine cone fell and knocked it loose. He told himself anything that would explain it away. Slowly, he settled back down and crawled into his sleeping bag beneath the tarp. Hours passed. At some point during the night, Sam jolted awake. The dread was back, stronger this time, and he still couldn't see or hear anything clearly. But then, he heard leaves rustling, soft at first, like someone walking slowly, deliberately, about 30 or 40 meters out. He strained to hear. Were they coming toward him, moving away? It was hard to tell. After a while, the sounds faded. He started to relax just a little. Maybe they'd walked off. Still, just to be safe, he reached out next to him to grab his flashlight. It was gone. He sat up, confused. He had left it right next to him when he went to sleep. He patted around, checking under the bag, the tarp. Nothing. That's when his stomach dropped. There was no way the flashlight moved unless someone, or something, had come right up to him while he was asleep. He crawled out of his sleeping bag and scanned the area. That's when he saw it. His flashlight was on the ground, about 10 meters away, in the same direction the footsteps had come from. The realization hit him like a brick. Whoever had taken the flashlight was close enough to reach over him, silently, in the middle of the night, then place it out there on purpose. This wasn't an accident. This was bait. He felt like he was going to be sick. But he knew one thing. He wasn't falling for it. Sam slipped on his boots, grabbed his knife, and backed toward the fire. He stoked it up, made it as large and bright as possible, and kept his eyes locked on the direction where the light had been placed. He didn't dare move. For hours, Sam stood there, knife in hand, staring into the dark. From time to time, he'd hear those footsteps again, crunching leaves, stopping and starting. Every time the fire began to die down, the sounds got closer. When he stoked the flames higher, they stayed back. But by 3 a.m, Sam had a new problem. He was out of firewood, and there was no way he was stepping into those trees to get more. As the fire dimmed, the footsteps came closer than ever. They stopped 3 meters away, but whoever, or whatever, it was had chosen to stand behind the thickest patch of trees. Sam couldn't see anything beyond them, but he could feel them. They were just there, waiting. And for 2 hours, that's how it stayed. Sam stood motionless, facing the trees, his grip tight on the knife, too terrified to even blink. His mind ran wild, imagining who, or what, was staring back from the dark. Finally, just before dawn, he heard it. Movement, branches shifting, footsteps running away. Whoever had been out there, they were gone. Sam didn't move until the sun was fully up. Then, and only then, he packed his gear and started walking, fast. He didn't stop, not to rest, not to eat, not to breathe, just walked. He made it all the way back to the parking lot, jumped in his car, and didn't look back. 20 miles down the road, he pulled into a gas station. He just needed to sit, breathe, get his heart rate down. He got a drink inside, then came back out to the car, and that's when he saw it. Written in the dust on the back window of his car were the words, "Sleep well." Sam is absolutely convinced that whoever, or whatever, had been stalking him in that forest, followed him back to his car, and left that message. And sometimes he still thinks about what would have happened if he'd gone to pick up that flashlight,